Hey, so we were just following one of those cars that had the vinyl lettering on the back that said real estate assistant wanted, make it $100,000 or more per year. What's the story behind those?
Okay, well, this is how this works. Generally with these, there's some sort of investor that's got money. There's all kinds of people running around with money, and they're looking for ways and opportunities in real estate. And so they get on one of these assistants, and they just have them cold call people that are generally distressed on their property, like they're behind on their payments.
Okay.
So they call them up and say, hey, we'd like to buy your home. I know you're behind on your payments. We'll go to the bank and negotiate whatever that is. The problem with this is when the investor goes to negotiate with the bank, it's all good and fine and everything. The investor, let's say they get a letter signed from the seller saying, hey, I can go to the bank and negotiate on your behalf to buy your house, and you won't be, you won't have to pay back the difference, whatever, it's a short sale or whatever it is. The problem with that is a lot of these investors will go to the bank and hardline the bank and hold the bank accountable. They got to come to some unrealistically low property, or the investor is going to send it to foreclosure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because the investor really doesn't care. He doesn't want a reasonable price back on the house. He wants an incredibly low price, and the bank wants a reasonable price.
Oh, I see.
And so he'll hold them accountable and say, listen, if you don't give me it at this price, we're not doing anything. We're going to stop talking. We're going to send this thing to foreclosure. Seller doesn't know what's going on because they're not involved in the negotiations.
I see.
And it can be because the bank's sitting over there, listen, you're holding us hostage with our own property and saying, listen, we don't want to foreclose on this thing, but what you're offering us is 50% of its market value.
Oh, I see.
A real estate agent should be a real estate agent and not a real estate investor.
Right. That makes sense.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, because a real estate investor is somebody that would represent their own money. A real estate agent
in their own interests.
Yes, and a real estate agent would be somebody that represents the seller of the property.
Yeah, and it can turn really, really bad. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't see it.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. Well, the guy's got money, he wants to buy it, and why not let him go work with the bank? No, have a real estate agent. That's the way the bank set it up. That's why they'll pay all the real estate commissions. If you're in a short sale situation or a distressed situation, they will pay for a professional real estate agent to market and sell the property, and they'll even come up with generally realistic values on properties. The banks are willing to accept like 85% of market value. That's all they want. If it's a short sale or something like that, the bank will say, listen, here's the deal. We know it went bad. We know that, we'll take 85%, and that's a pretty good deal. You got to jump through a few hoops, but we're going to sell it to you cheap. Call an agent. Call a realtor. Call somebody like me that you know, like, and trust, right?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, yeah.
No, because in the end, because there's multiple ways to go about it, you need a second opinion. Like if the doctor called you and said, listen, we got a serious issue. You got a heart, and what we don't need is hearts. Okay?
Yeah.
We're going to go and take care of this thing, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes, maybe, I don't know, maybe you got a bad heart, we're going to give you a different heart. But maybe sometimes they just need a heart for something else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You got to need a second opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's the key. Get a second opinion. Call the people that you know, like, and trust in real estate, because, man, if you don't have a good name in real estate, then you're going to have a bad name. And you got to have a good name if you're going to be in this business long term.
Yep, that's right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.